Today we're in Now Then, Minnesota. You heard that correctly. That's Now Then, as in now then let's go painting. It's just north of the Twin Cities area. And I'm painting this deceptively simple landscape here. And caught this one. We're actually on our way to Montana doing a kind of a painting road trip, as well as a Native American photo shoot. And we're staying with some family not too far from here, and I saw this scene and it just kind of caught my eye. I love the shapes of it, so I thought I would give it a try. Apologize, it's fairly windy out here, and I'm in a spot where, as you can probably hear, there's a lot of traffic. It's around 5 o'clock, so a lot of people going home from work. But I really like this scene, so I thought, despite the traffic and everything, I'm gonna come back and set up and paint it. Actually, went through the wooded area where my family lives, and thought maybe I could find something nice in the woods to paint. Problem was, the bugs were pretty bad. Mosquitoes, it's bone dry here right now. They desperately need rain, so mosquitoes aren't quite as bad as I remember when I used to live in Minnesota. I was born and raised in Minnesota, but the horseflies and deer flies found me real fast. So I thought, nah, I'm not going to do an inner woodland scene. That's just going to be asking for misery. So I thought being out here in the open might be better. And the wind actually helps keep the bugs away, though I hope it's not going to be too much of a nuisance on the microphone. And unfortunately, I can't do much about the traffic. So I'm going to be combining, it's two photographs here. Show you the other one here quick. And I'm going to be combining elements from both photos. Just to give this scene some more interest. The one by itself, I think, might be a little boring, but I'm going to be changing some elements up. So right now, I'm strictly thinking shape, and I'm trying to think more abstractly. I'm not so much thinking, I'm painting a field and some trees, but I'm trying to think, okay, what are some interesting shapes that, match to a certain degree the shapes out there in the actual scene, and that when I get done putting it all together, it's going to look like the scene itself, or look not like the scene like as if I want to do a replica of this area, but it's going to look like some trees out in the field. So that's that's my goal today. I almost feel like I'm getting a little too complex. But at this stage, if you can you establish somewhat of a composition before you start thinking about specific colors, it's going to get you off to a good start. By the way, I'm using little different colors than what I typically do when I'm out plein air painting. This is titanium white. This is nickel titanate. I think it's pronounced as Titanate. Gamla makes it. If any of you know how to pronounce that correctly, If you can do a nice spelled out pronunciation in the comment section, go for it. This is cadmium yellow light, cadmium orange, yellow ochre, transparent red oxide, alizarin crimson, ultramarine blue, cobalt blue, cerulean blue, viridian, and chromium green oxide. And over here I have some Gamblin's Portland gray. I might have said earlier that we're heading out to Montana and going to be doing some mountains out there. And this color is wonderful for quickly painting the illuminated side of mountains. So I do like to use that color when I go out west. And the nickel yellow is a very nice color for, it's a cool yellow, and it's really handy for pushing things back, especially yellow tones. Okay, so now I have, overall composition I'm pleased with. I think I'm going to bring this tree in a little bit more. Maybe make this guy taller. I'm a little far away from these trees, but I can see them where I can easily zoom in. All right, now further in the background, my horizon line is right about here. And further in the background, there are some cooler greens. So I'm going to get those in. It's almost too cool with that nickel yellow and ultramarine. So let's warm it up just a bit. A little bit of ochre, a little bit of alizarin. I'm painting very small, just because I want to get back and see my family. Haven't seen them in a while, but I wanted to get a quick scene painted. Been on the road for the last day and a half driving, and it just killed my feet. We had to take a big detour in Ohio because the turnpike was shut down due to an accident. Really added a lot of extra time on our trip, but wanted to get back to see my family. And a lot of times when I'm doing these plein air sketches, I like to keep it small. I've had people comment I should paint bigger and all that, and I know there's videos out there of artists who paint really big, like gigantic, but I like the way my paintings turn out better when I don't have the pressure of trying to impress with a big canvas. And as I said in one of my earlier videos, paint whatever you feel comfortable doing, the size that you're comfortable with. Don't paint to impress. Ultimately, you won't be happy. Paint what inspires you, size-wise, subject, and all that. If you're newer to painting, I recommend just going out and painting whatever you can, when you can, just to get into it and learn how to communicate with the language of paint. But after a while, you got to really settle in on what inspires you, what you're comfortable with, and what you like doing. You always have people with opinions and things like that, but just do what you like. So this is a little tiny painting, and I do not apologize one bit for the size. Nor should you. I know if I tried to do a 36 by 48, it would just be a disaster. And Somebody might say, well, you must not be that good. And I say, okay, whatever. I'm not painting to make somebody think I'm good. I'm painting because I like doing it. End of story. So with my darks established, I want to establish a ground plane, and this is one of the most important aspects of painting is getting your overall value masses established. And I'm being pretty sloppy about it right now. But I'll clean it up as I go. My main focus is on relationships, and those of you who've watched my other videos have heard me say this over and over again. And by the way, if you're new to my channel, if you could subscribe, that would be awesome. Or if you've been watching for a while and you have not subscribed yet, if you could hit the subscribe button. I'm going to try to post about once a week for as long as I can. As long as I can get out and paint at least once a week. Also, if you like the video, hit the like button. It keeps the YouTube algorithms happy, and we all want to keep the algorithms in our life happy. One color that I do not have on my palette today that I do a lot of other times is cadmium red. And that's because when I looked at the scene, I just really couldn't see much need for cadmium red. If I were painting with just the primaries, which I have done, and I'll probably do a video of that one of these days, I would definitely have cadmium red. But because I have a bunch of earth tones and things like that, I don't need the cadmium red. I'm trying to get a hold of my bag here for my paper towels. I fill my bag with some rocks when it's windy out. That keeps the bag from blowing over and sending paper towels halfway across the county. Also, another little pro tip I learned is when it is windy out, if you clip your bag to the side of your pochette box like I do, your paper towel, your waste bag, keep it away from your solvent can, because sometimes the wind might knock that bag up and it'll be just enough force to knock over your solvent can. I hang my solvent can off the side of my pochette box, but it could knock it over and you'll have mineral spirits all over the place. I did that one time this last spring, and the video's on there, though of course this is before I started recording and I didn't say anything about it, but I had put bug repellent to keep ticks off my legs. I put it on my feet. I was wearing sandals. Actually, I'm wearing sandals now, and the solvent can got knocked over by the wind and the mineral spirits landed on my feet. And I learned that mixing mineral spirits with bug repellent has a burning effect, a chemical burning effect. And I ended up getting a chemical burn on my feet that lasted for weeks, and that hurt. Remember when I ended up taking my sandals off. I actually was wearing take that back. I can't remember if I was wearing sandals or shoes with socks. Might have been shoes with socks, but either way, it got on my socks. And boy, there's a lot of traffic going by here now. And let's just say it just burned the daylights out of my feet. So don't do that. That's not good. So I'm just trying to tone in this sky. There's a lot of subtlety about it that I really like to capture. Oh, I hear some sandhill cranes. It's a really neat sound if you've never heard it. Okay, so my main value masses are blocked in, and the primary question to ask at this point is this lighter than this? And this is lighter than anything going on here or in these uprights back here. That is the big thing to ask yourself. And if they are, now half your battle's won there. Then you can have fun. Now I'm going in, since I'm pretty confident about my value masses, now I can go in and really try to just get in some of these little tiny color shifts that I'm seeing. Yeah, I see little hints of viridian, of rose. The sky is not just one solid color. There's tons of color up there if you really look at it. And generally what a sky does is it goes from a deeper redder blue to a lighter greener blue, and then when you get toward the horizon, it gets to almost a dusty rose. Now out in the east, where there's a lot of hills and tall trees, you don't always see that. But here in the Midwest, and when you get out in the prairie, you can really see where that sky terminates to a more ambiguous kind of dusty rose color. You can almost throw in like a bit of ochre into it, but I'm really using this Portland gray warm for that color. I could probably dip into just a touch of alizarin permanent or alizarin crimson. See, I'm dragging some of that tree color out. Generally, you want to get pretty impressionistic with these skies. A lot of broken color. It's going to cause a nice vibration and a more faithful representation of that scene. Okay, I'm going to leave off there. Make sure we're still recording here. Yep. Camera's probably going to shut off on me any minute. There's this 20 or 30 minute rule that they have built into the cameras. into these digital SLRs or because of some European Union tax thing. I can't remember the whole thing, but it drives me nuts. So I can only record in like 30-minute intervals. Thankfully, this camera is fairly obvious when it shuts off. My last one, I didn't even know when it would shut off half the time. Okay, and going back to the ground plane, I want to get some, now that I have the sky in here to compare it with, I want to get some stronger yellows and greens in here to more faithfully represent what I'm seeing out there. And I'm not going to try to completely cover up what I have there, but I definitely want to make these stronger colors a bit more known, shall we say. Also, if you'd like to support my channel, I have a Patreon account set up where you can help support me, help me pay for the extra canvas, brushes, paint, all the other stuff that goes into this, plus the travel involved. It really helps. If you go to the link below, you'll see where you can click on Patreon, and that'll take you to a page where you can contribute a monthly amount. I'd really appreciate it. And I appreciate so much that once a month I'm going to be giving away one of my paintings, one of my little sketches here. Not the paintings you see on my website, jasontako.com. Those go into galleries, and my galleries would have my head in a noose if I gave those paintings away. But my little sketches here, I do these strictly for YouTube, with the exception of the ones out west. I want to say that the ones I'll be doing out in Montana when I get out there, I will not be giving those away because I need to keep those for reference since I don't live out there. But anything I'm doing, like this one, I'd probably give away, and anything I'm doing where I live, that's fair game. So if you'd like to have a shot at winning one of my paintings, one of my sketches I should say, that is my way of thanking you for supporting me. I know I have ads, but trust me, the ads do not pay much. So especially a channel my size. I'm not those billionaire kids who play with toys on YouTube all day and make a gazillion dollars. I don't have that many people interested. Somebody's honking at me. I have no idea who that guy was because I don't live here. Maybe he thought I was somebody else. He was waving at me. Anyway, if you want to support me, go check it out. And if you do, I thank you. And I'll send you a personal email thanking you too if you do it. There are some cool greens I see just here and there. There's so many different kinds of plants and grasses that'll grow out in these fields. I even see some kind of lavenderish colors. Oh, that guy passed about 2-3 cars in a row. He needs a police officer to visit him. The way he was driving before he gets himself killed. So I'm trying to really sneak up on this intensity. There could be a tendency when you see what you think are more intense colors in a scene, where you just start grabbing some pure cadmium and throwing it on there, or some pure yellow ochre. Yeah, I'm mixing a lot of white and modifiers with this to neutralize it. But there could be a tendency when you do that, and you have a lot of subtle grays going on, where you think, okay, I see something intense, and then you just go in there and just smack on some pure color. And a lot of times if you do that, that might be too much. So it's better to kind of build up to it and sneak up to it in a more impressionistic way. The other thing too is, don't cover up everything you have down there. You see how long I've been working on this grass. And that's just because I keep adding a little bit, looking, adding a little bit, just really sneaking up on it. Painting a scene like this, it's deceptively, it's a little deceptive, because you think, oh, it's just some trees out in the field. But boy, a regular plain field, when you really look at it and you really look at those colors in there, there's a lot going on that you might not have noticed right away. And to catch it faithfully is not easy. Sometimes these scenes where we see, not much going on, there's a lot going on. Okay, so now I'm going to get in some of the highlights in the trees. Very, very important with these highlights is that, and this is a mistake that sends more landscape paintings to the failure category than pretty much anything else out there, is is parts I'm painting right here, the highlights in the trees. In most cases, not all, but in most cases, you want these highlights to be darker in value than the ground plane, and definitely darker than the sky. In fact, a lot of times these highlights are not much lighter than the shadow areas themselves. But what a lot of beginning artists do is they paint them really bright, and they're not that bright. So if you're unsure, start a little darker on these than you think you need to be, and then move up from there, and then brighten them as you go. Especially with oil paint, you can always lighten it some, but it's a little harder. It's a little harder to darken it once you've gone light. And it's so important that when you're painting these scenes that you squint at your scene when you look at it and look at the whole thing. Don't just look at one little spot. If you just look at the highlights of the trees themselves, you're gonna end up painting them really bright in comparison to what else is around, and that's gonna be a disaster. And these little studies are so good to do. If you've watched my past videos, you've heard me say this. If you're newer to painting, don't go out and try to paint some grandiose, complex scene. Start out with very simple scenes, or what seems to be simple, like this. You're gonna have plenty to work on just with a simple field and some trees if you're really trying to get the colors and values right. Don't go out there and try to do something that just is mind-blowing. Because if you're new, I can pretty much guarantee it's not going to happen. And I'm not saying that to be mean. I'm just taking it from myself, because I've done plenty of bad paintings over the years, trying to go out and you get this inspiration and you get all excited and you go out there and I can do it, and then you go home with your head sunk down because you didn't do it. And if you're new, that's going to happen for a while. But if you've been doing it for a little while and you're still not getting there, it could be you're just still trying to bite off more than you can chew. Plein air painting is not easy. And getting good instruction can help too. I just want to mention, if you are interested in instruction, I do teach live online painting classes. We meet once a week, usually once a week. We meet on Saturdays. If there's 5 weekends in a month, then we'll meet 4 times a week. But anyway, I show you what I'm doing. We don't paint nearly as fast. I take you through a painting step by step, start to finish. I also demo it on my own, record it so you can watch it. All the sessions are recorded in case you can't make it. And I'm very passionate about teaching. If you can't tell from my videos here on YouTube, my free videos, I get even more passionate during the live sessions. You take all levels. If you're a beginner, I won't lie to you, it's going to be a little more challenging, but being a beginner is more challenging, period. And getting some good solid instruction will shorten the learning curve. I also offer an advanced version where I give one-on-one instruction to students. That's all. Seating's limited in any of my workshops, so that one's even more limited just because of the nature of doing one-on-one sessions every week. And that guy really liked his muffler. Actually, that was a Corvette. But there's a link below. You can sign up, get on the waiting list. I'll let you know if a spot opens. We only let people in once a month just because we spend a month working on a painting. So, love to have you if you're interested. I suggest, though, you only sign up if you're serious. Because you only want to invest in yourself to this degree if you are serious. If you're not sure if you want to even paint, well, you might want to dabble with it alone for a while before you commit to some workshops. I used to teach bass guitar. I used to teach music. I was a very successful musician, bass player, and I had some, I taught that and did well, but I always had students who I could just tell they weren't into it. Some of them I just kind of eventually said, I don't know if you really are into doing this. You're kind of wasting your money and just not to be cruel, but my time too. I wanted to teach students who were serious about it, and the same goes with this. So you don't have to be obsessed or anything, but you should definitely want to dedicate to it. And you owe it to yourself to do that too. I've run out of iridium. I should replenish it, but I'm gonna see if I can finish the rest of the painting without it. Here comes another motorcycle. I have nothing against motorcycles, but the only thing that drives me crazy sometimes is that sometimes the people who ride motorcycles want everyone to know that they're riding a motorcycle. And it always seems to be where I'm recording a video. By the way, with the workshops, I can't remember if I said this or not, but there is a link below for the waiting list if you are interested in doing it. Or at least check it out. There's more information there too. We do a live Q&A and critique session for any other work you're doing. And it's a fun group. We have a lot of fun. I mean, we take it seriously, but we're not like... We have a lot of laughs and a good time, so. Okay, I just ran out of yellow ochre too. So just for kicks, I'm gonna, because I want to try avoiding replenishing some of these colors because we're still quite a ways from Montana, and any colors I put on my palette, I either have to use them or basically throw it away. When I'm at home, I take these colors back home and I'll, stick them on I'll use them in the studio because I'm using artist grade colors, by the way. I'll stick them in the, use them in the studio or put them in a freezer, in a palette, stick them in the freezer and save them. But I can't do that when I'm on the road. have a feeling I'm either going to have to replenish my cadmium yellow light or my yellow ochre, because yellow is a primary and I just can't get by without it with this scene. Okay, I did replenish the cadmium yellow light and the yellow ochre, just because I have a crap load of yellow ochre, I remembered. So I originally had not planned on painting until I got to Montana. I want to do a lot of paintings for you guys when I'm out there. But my wife, as I was driving here to Minnesota and killing my feet in the process, informed me that the temperature out in Montana is supposed to be some of those days like literally over 100 degrees, and I'm wondering if my camera will even handle that kind of heat. I did bring an umbrella, thank goodness, but if it's windy and like that, the umbrella's not going to hold up too well. So I really hope I can get some stuff done for you guys while I'm out there. But I figured if I can at least get something done here. Okay, I'm gonna put in some color in here, sky color, to kind of sculpt this tree. So basically painting right back over the dark. See how that implies the tree trunk there. Oops, drop the paper towel there. I really like using the palette knife for foliage. You know this quite well if you watched my other videos. It's a wonderful tool for creating a nice random effect. Now, you could call this painting pretty much done if you wanted to. But I'm gonna go in and play with it just a little more. It's late afternoon, pretty much early evening at this point. So there are some nice cast shadows being created across this field. Just want to give a slight suggestion of those. Wind is picking up again. That was a very loud car. Didn't see what that kind was. That might be a little talent thing I can do, even though I'm not real big on car models. I could try to name the model of the car that goes by and makes the loudest noise, just for kicks. If we have any car buffs out in the group there, might be kind of fun for you guys. I don't know if a lot of car buffs paint, but now I purposely made this bluer back here, and you see me do this in some other videos, just to exaggerate the depth and distance and to give it a little more interest, because that's a little too much there. There's something I like about that. Happy little accident, as the great prophet Bob Ross would have said. I might go out while I'm still here in Minnesota. I might go out tomorrow morning and paint before everybody else wakes up. And if I do, you will see that the following Saturday. Actually, no, you won't, because I'm going to post this when I get back, and then I have a video between this one and the next one that I'll post that is actually in Pennsylvania. It's of an apple orchard. And then you'll see the one if I paint tomorrow. You'll see that one the following weekend. See how putting in those reds, it really helps tie it in with this slight rose implication up here. These very cool reds. Don't want to overdo it. They also provide a really nice complement with the strong greens that are there. Just want to dull these greens down in the background, push them back a little bit, lighten them just a bit. We'll apply something there that you can see through there. And maybe right there too. Now, this is a badger hair brush, or imitation badger hair brush. It's a rosemary series 279 long flat. They're master stroke series number 4 size, and these are nice for just doing some very subtle blending, which I'm going to do back here. Okay, one more thing I want to do that I think is important is to, it's not in the photo, but it could have been, and it would have looked better if it was. So I'm going to make this happen. And that is to change the footing of these trees right here. In other words, I'm just going to bring them down where they touch the ground a little lower than these back there. And if you have a one long line of trees going across your scene, a lot of artists, they'll paint that long line just straight across, but you can add a lot of interest and just totally change your painting by just slightly altering that footing a little bit, just like I did there. And this, if I can just bring this out a little bit more. Just to offset it so it's not lining up with that right there. See how that little bit just helps quite a lot with this scene. There's some very cool, slightly lighter greens in here. I could just get them in without destroying the simplicity of the value masses. I just realized I'm getting insanely hungry. We ate a little bit on the way here, but the first thing I did when we got here to my family's is I told my wife and kids, I'm going to go back and paint that scene and record it. So we still have to unpack our luggage, but the light was really good. It's not a cloud in the sky. Very nice sunlight. So here I am. And I thank you for watching. Like I said, consider subscribing if you haven't. Giving this video a like. Be great if you could support me on Patreon. I thank you if you do, but I thank you for watching either way. And if you want to take your painting to the next level, consider signing up for my workshop. And if I don't see you again tomorrow, of course in YouTube world it'll be a couple weeks from now. If I don't see you tomorrow in Minnesota, I will see you next stop either in North Dakota or Montana. I might stop in North Dakota and paint if there's time. I love North Dakota. It's a very underrated state. There's a lot of beauty there, in the western part especially. But anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.